Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Jabin Chavez Leadership Podcast. I have been loving these conversations, and I believe that today is going to be a blessing to you and to your team. I believe that as the leader goes, the organization follows. Jesus said, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. And so if we have strong leaders, we're going to have strong sheep. We're going to have strong churches, strong organizations, strong businesses. And I'm so honored to spend a couple of minutes with you. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Launch Sunday. We love Launch Sunday so much. They help us with all of our printing, signage needs, everything from putting a logo on a Stanley cup or a mug to massive pop-up signs to everything else. Launch Sunday does it all, launchsunday.com, and they are amazing. Also, just want to encourage you to like, subscribe, follow the page, and join the conversation of what God is doing through this podcast. Today, I want to talk about the things that great leaders never do. The things that great leaders never do. Now, when I say never, never say never, but these are the things that we should really work to resist, to fight, and to do all that we can to stay away from. The things that will creep into an organizational culture that will just absolutely destroy it. You know, what we know is that our relationship with God is based on grace, right? Ephesians 2:8, it is by grace that you've been saved through faith. This is a gift of God that no one can boast. So our relationship with God is completely based on grace. But our relationship with people, especially with the people we lead, is based on trust. And so you could build trust for years and lose it in seconds. You know, I'm so amazed by that. I've been pastoring now 6 years. And I'm still building trust. You know, you just think at this point, man, I've got everyone's trust. No, it takes years. I remember that actually when COVID hit, March 2020, our church was 2 years old. I thought I had so much more equity and trust with the people than I did. I realized during that season, like, oh man, no, we're young. We're young, and you know what? These people don't know me, and I don't know them. And we've got to build trust. And so trust takes a long time. And what I want to talk about today can help grow the trust in your organization and grow the trust with your people. Things great leaders never do. Great leaders never complain. We don't complain. Listen, we solve issues. Great leaders don't complain. We solve issues. Complaining is not a gift of the Spirit, and complaining is not discernment. Wisdom is not complaining. It is finding the best ideas and practices. I want you to catch this. Complaining is not a gift of the Spirit. It's not discernment. It's not discernment to complain about what you don't like in your organization. Wisdom is not complaining. It's finding the best ideas and practices. So when I say great leaders never complain, great leaders solve issues. They find the best. They find what we should do next. They have an ability to find the answer. This is what great leaders do. Great leaders don't just throw pity parties. They find what needs to happen. They find it. I want you to think about it. They find it. You know, when you read the book of Proverbs, you find out that wisdom is sought. You seek wisdom. You find wisdom. It doesn't just show up. It's not always obvious and easy. But if you will seek, you will find. If you will knock, Jesus said the door would be open. If you would ask, you would receive. James talked about this, right? In James chapter 1, he said, are you lacking wisdom? Ask God. So wisdom is something that we will lack, and it's something that we will have to seek. Complaining says, this is it. I'm not taking any responsibility for it to get better. If it gets better, it's on you guys. If it gets worse, it's on you guys. I'm stuck. But wisdom says, no, let's seek to solve issues. I have a 7-year-old daughter, Goldie Ray Chavez. Goldie has the ability to ask and ask and ask and ask. Dad, can we have ice cream? No. Can we please have ice cream? No. Daddy, can we please have ice cream? No. Daddy, please, please, can we have ice cream? No. Her ability to do that. By the way, when she finally realizes I say no, and I mean it, she throws a fit. She throws a pity party and she storms off. So all of her asking and all of that complaining and all of that manipulating was not an act of faith or a sign of faith. It was a sign of immaturity. It's not looking for the best thing. It's trying to get what I want. You must grow past this. Her throwing a fit only reveals immaturity. Man, you got to think about this. Numbers 11:1. Now the people complained about their troubles. I want you to, this is a shocking statement. In the hearing of the Lord. The people complained about their troubles. I want you to think about complaining. God hears it in the hearing of the Lord. Complaining is always in the earshot of God. Bring ideas, not problems. Bring ideas, not complaints. Bring solutions. Oh man, that didn't go well. That didn't go well. Okay. Well, I would have thought, we should have. Well, but you didn't. Great leaders never complain. They solve issues. They solve problems. Here's another one. Great leaders never tear down. Great leaders never tear down. Great leaders lift up. We lift up situations. We lift up people. We lift up atmospheres. We lift the room. We don't tear down. We don't find, I've said this before, it is so easy for people to relate around the kind of the easiest common denominator that we can find with another person is our enemy. So we identify our enemy and then we relate based on who our enemy is. That's easy. That's cheating. That's easy. Well, let's relate around tearing things down and talking about how bad it is. Let's complain. No. Great leaders never tear down, they lift up. We do need to surround ourselves with vision and excitement and hope and what could be and not what isn't. Great leaders never tear down. They don't tear down people. We don't tear down situations. We don't tear down rooms. We don't tear down other organizations. We lift. We lift atmospheres. We lift. This is a challenge because it's so easy as you're feeling the gravitational pull of the negativity. It's just so easy to go with it. They say that the first law of thermodynamics is that everything's getting worse. Everything's bending towards destruction. Everything's bending towards worse. And what a leader's doing is we're grabbing the wheel and we're turning it towards positivity. You don't just get in your car, hit the gas, and see where you go. No, you got to keep your hand on the wheel. That's what I'm talking about. We're steering towards positivity. We're steering towards lifting. We're steering towards encouragement. We're steering away from sarcasm. We're steering away from teasing. We're steering away from tearing other people down. Great leaders never tear down, they lift up. Number 3, great leaders never eat first, they serve. As one book says, leaders eat last. Love that book by Simon Sinek. We don't eat first. We're not entitled. Man, you want to kill a church? You want to kill a ministry? You want to kill a culture? Let in a spirit of entitlement. It's not that we put ourselves last, but we put the people first in times of service. Let me say that again. It's not that we put ourselves last. It's that we put the people first in times of service. We understand it's time to engage. We understand it's game day. We understand it's time to serve. And I'm not looking to be served. I'm looking to serve. I'm not looking to eat first. I'm not looking to be lifted. I'm looking to serve. Book of John, chapter 13. When Jesus knew that all authority had been given to him, when he knew that the Father had placed everything under him, what did he do? Picked up a towel and he started washing feet. As Andy Stanley said, what do you do when you know you're the most important person in the room? Well, according to Jesus, you serve. Jesus never announced, I've got all authority. He never announced, I'm the man. He never announced, no. He started serving. He started washing the feet of those he loved, those who loved him, and those who would betray him. Great leaders never eat first. We're not looking to be served, we're looking to serve. And I want to say this is why your own time with God and your own energy and your own confidence is so important. Because you're going to have to develop that so that when it's time to minister, you're not trying to find something from the people that they're not called to give you. Man, I just said a lot. I can't wholeheartedly serve a people if I'm needing their affirmation. So I've got to find my energy, my confidence, my affirmation apart from the people. Not just with God, but God is the huge factor in this. But I've got to find it apart from the people so that when I stand before the people, I can serve the people. I'm not trying to get from them. I'm trying to give to them. I'm not trying to be fed by them. I'm trying to feed them. Great leaders never eat first. They serve. They lay their life down. I'm not a hireling. I don't run from the wolf. I'm a shepherd. Like David, I fight the lion and I fight the bear. And I stand before God and I protect those who God's put in front of me. I don't need anything from the sheep. I'm here to bless the sheep. Great leaders never eat first, they serve. Number 4, great leaders never get defensive. They learn. This one's big. You're never going to grow if you're defensive. You can only grow to the level of your own defensiveness. Hello. Just gave you a lot there. You can only grow to the level of your defensiveness. The more defensive you are, the more walled you are, the more standoffish you are, the less you'll grow. The quicker you can learn from criticism, the quicker you can be elevated. Boy, this is huge. Great leaders never get defensive. They learn. They learn. You have got to be, what did Jesus call us? Disciples. You know what a disciple is? A disciplined student or a disciplined learner. To be a disciple is to be open to training. To be a disciple is to be open to discipline. To be a disciple is to be open to correction. To be a disciple means I need to grow. I recognize I need to grow. And I recognize that I have blind spots. Have you ever been cut off by somebody and give them a little honk, just a little love honk to let them know, like, hey, I'm here. You almost killed me. I'm here. And what's always shocking is sometimes they'll, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. They'll wave and sorry. But have you ever had someone get mad at you? They cut you off. And now they're flipping you off. They're yelling at you. They're giving you an attitude. You're going, wait a minute. You're the one who cut me off. It was your blind spot. I'm just letting you know I'm here. See, we all have blind spots. And when someone's challenging the blind spot, we don't get mad at them. We listen. We learn. I didn't see that. I didn't know that about me. I wasn't aware. Don't get mad at that. Don't get defensive of that. Be open to criticism. Even when, just dumb, like ignorant people who have no idea criticize you, you could still learn something. Like, I want to learn from everybody. I may not receive their criticism in the way of love or friendship but I can go, you know what? They're saying that about me, and I'm just gonna listen. I'm gonna see if there's any truth in that where I can grow. I'm not gonna talk about my haters and all the haters and haters gonna hate. No. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna learn because the more and the quicker I can learn from criticism, the quicker I can be elevated. I'm telling y'all, great leaders don't live in defense. Great leaders don't live with a defensive spirit. They learn. Number 5, great leaders never settle, they grow. Great leaders never settle, they grow. They grow. See, growth feels more like work than growth. But in reality, it gives you more capacity to enjoy your work. This is huge. This is huge. When you're growing and you're working on personal growth, it just feels like work. But in reality, if you'll grow, it gives you more capacity so that you can actually enjoy your work. The more you're growing and the less you're settling, the more you will enjoy the weight and the more you'll be able to endure the pressure of the ministry. Personal growth is everything. What are you learning? What are you learning right now? What are you learning? What are you reading? Who are you listening to? What's going into the eye gate? What's going into the ear gate? What's entering into the heart? Jesus said, a good man storeth up good treasure in his heart. An evil man storeth up evil treasure in his heart. What are you storing up? What kind of capacity are you building on the inside? Great leaders never settle. They grow. And the more you grow, the more you enjoy your calling. The more you grow, the more you enjoy your calling. The less you grow, or the more you're hitting the brakes, the less you're going to enjoy what God's called you to do. Don't settle. Never settle. Never think you figured it all out. Never become an expert. Never become an expert. Never think I've got that figured out. Because you're going to miss your next level when you think you've already reached the peak. You haven't. There is no Mount Everest in leadership. There's no Mount Everest in the kingdom of God. There's no highest point to your capacity. So never settle. The world is changing so fast, so quickly, that you can be an expert today and you'll be a novice tomorrow. You'll think you've got this figured out today, and by tomorrow you're going, what happened? What? You see it all the time. Have you ever walked into a church, a massive building, a massive church, a massive auditorium, and it's empty? And it's an old pastor with old people. You go, what happened? They settled. They were the young pastor with the young people, with the young church, and it was thriving, and it was booming, and it was massive, and then they settled. And then, you'll see it now, it'll be an old church building with old people and an old pastor, and they'll buy an LED wall, right? As if that's going to change everything. Let's spend $100,000 on LED, and then young people will come. No, you're missing it. You've settled. You've settled stylistically. You've settled spiritually. You've settled emotionally. You've settled mentally. You're trying to do something that worked in the 80s and 90s, and it's 2024. Oh man, it did used to. But we're not in used to. We're in 2024. What worked then may not work now. So, some of it can, but some of it can't. And what happens for a lot of pastors is they just settle into, the world has changed and no one loves God anymore and no one's on fire for God anymore. And man, I remember when, and they just live in that. Instead of empowering the next generation, instead of working to find a successor, instead of trying to do something to reach young people and children, just buy an LED wall. Great leaders never settle, they grow. You got to grow. I think of Pastor Charles Neiman in El Paso, Texas. He had led the church for 40 years. I think it was on the 40th anniversary. Born and raised in El Paso. Built that church for 40 years. One of the great churches in America. One of the great churches in America. He had already started making some shifts. He was dressing younger. The worship was getting better. Everything was getting modern. It was like a very kind of classic. It was extremely excellent, but a little bit of like that classic Word of Faith church. And so Charles was already taking it younger, working on it, but then he made an extreme move and he empowered his son, Jared, to really take that church. And man, what has happened in the last couple of years since that? It's unbelievable. Charles didn't just buy an LED wall. He didn't just settle. He grew. And he knew that it would take the next generation to do it. And boy, what that church has done now, unbelievable. It's just only hit the gas. Don't settle. Number 6, great leaders never divide. They unite. Great leaders never divide. They unite. Call people to reconciliation. Call people to each other. Call people to maturity. Call people to unity. Acts chapter 2 says they were in one place, in one accord. They weren't just in one place, they were in one accord. Right now, as I'm filming this, I'm in kind of like a business park. And so I think in this building that I'm in, I think there's 4 different suites. So we're under one roof, but we're in 4 different suites. We're in competition. Okay, there's a company that way and a company that way and a company that way. We're all under the same roof, but we're not in one accord. We're in one place, but we are not in one accord. We're fighting over parking. We're fighting over, all of that. We're in one place, but we're not in one accord. We're in competition. It's not just enough to be under one roof. You have to be in one accord, one place, in one accord. Unity. Psalm 133. There's a blessing on those who dwell together in unity. Unite. Great leaders don't divide, they unite. I'm not saying that, I'm not being an idealist, okay? I understand Jesus said, I didn't come to bring peace all the time. I came to bring a sword. I understand there's a dividing line in the kingdom of God. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm not trying to be divisive for divisive sake. I'm never trying to be edgy for edgy's sake. I'm never trying to push the envelope. I'm never trying to cross the line. I'm doing all I can to unite, because the gospel will be offensive, and the gospel will be divisive, and the gospel will call you to lay down your life, and the gospel will call you to pick up your cross, and the gospel will call you to die with Christ so you can be raised in a new life, and the gospel will call you to repentance, and the gospel will call you to life change, and the gospel will be countercultural. That the message of the gospel is going to do all that. I don't have to do any of that. I'm going to let the message cause change. I'm going to be a unifier. This isn't good cop, bad cop. This is me understanding that the gospel is already going to confront. I don't have to be confronting. I don't have to be edgy. I remember this guy this pastor walked up to me one day. He's like, yeah, man, I'm like the Donald Trump of pastors. I was like, ugh. I don't care if you vote for Donald Trump. That's what I'm talking about. I just thought, like, man, love President Trump, but man, I don't know if you know what you just said. I like to be edgy, man. I like to cross I like to push the boundaries. I was like, you are an idiot. You're an idiot. You just want to be careful. This doesn't sound very unifying, huh? But great leaders don't divide, they unite. And I love that Donald Trump of pastors, but get it together. Number 7, great leaders never miss a moment to show gratitude. They work hard to show appreciation. I'm coming up on the end of my time, so let me just give you 2 very practical things. One more time. Great leaders never miss a moment to show gratitude. They work hard to show appreciation. Write the note, send the text, make the call. Write the note, send the text, make the call. Man, there is something powerful about a handwritten note. There's something powerful about a well thought out text. There's something powerful about a focused phone call to show gratitude. Great leaders never miss a moment to show gratitude. I got a text last week from a friend who said, we've got our kids camp happening at our church. And I had a friend who said, what are we short? Financially, what are you short? And so I told him, this is what we're short. And he immediately hopped online and gave a gift double the amount that we were short. So I gave him that number and he gave double the amount. So I shared appreciation. We're sending a note. It's in the mail right now, a note. Just thank you so much. And then I also sent a text today. Hey, just a little picture from camp, little video from camp. It means so much. Thank you. Show appreciation. Let me go back to that entitled thing real quick. Don't just assume people should give. Well, people should give. People should tithe. Yeah. Somewhere. They don't have to give to you. They don't have to tithe to your church. Show appreciation. Send a thank you. Someone gives a large gift to your ministry, pick up the phone. Say thank you. Well, I don't want to get caught in all. You're not getting caught in all that. In the same way that you would walk up to a kid's volunteer and go, thank you for serving. Show appreciation to a guy or a couple when they give a gift. A guy sold something this week in our church, and he made a big profit, and he gave an offering. He gave a tithe, excuse me. And I grabbed him Sunday. I made a beeline over to him, and I said, thank you so much. And he goes, it's the tithe. I have to. It's the tithe. It's for God. It's God's tithe. And I said, I know. But number one, I would have never known. Right? Like, you could have kept it. I wouldn't have known. You could have given it to someone else. You gave it to us. Thank you. Yes, I know it belongs to God. I know the doctrine. I've been a tither since I was 15 years old. Thank you. Show appreciation. Man, it goes a long way. Such a powerful moment in your church, such a powerful part of your culture. Those are the things great leaders never do and should. On the opposite, always do. I love you guys. Hey, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you're sharing this podcast with a friend, and we'll see you real soon. Have a great day.